Hey everybody, Matt Mullen with Apollo Acres here. Today I want to give you a quick update on how our chickens on pasture are doing. Let's take a look. So our chickens have been on pasture for about 2 weeks now. Now, if you watched our previous video, I talked a little bit about how we have an automatic door opener on here, but to start them off, we were just using the manual mode. So you can press a button, make the door open and close. And this is largely because it takes the chicks a little while to get used to going back into the coop every night. As you can tell, they get very comfortable with going under the coop, and that's generally where they've been trying to go at night. So for about a week, we've had to come out here right after it gets dark, catch the chickens, put them back in. First night, we got to catch every single one, put them back in by hand. After about a week, all but 4 or 5 were going in on their own. At that point, we decided to go and turn it back on automatic mode where it senses the amount of light, and you can adjust the time delay after it detects sunset for when it opens and closes. Or well, I guess for sunset when it closes, and then in the morning, it's a 20-minute delay after it detects sunrise. So that's been saving a lot of time, just not having to come out here in the dark, catch chickens and everything. As I said, there's a few that still aren't going in yet, but I think they'll get the hang of it real soon. So besides that, let me show you a couple other things that we've changed. All right, so as you may have noticed, when our chicks were in the brooder and we first brought them out on pasture, we had this style water. It holds about a gallon. It works really well when they're little chicks. All you have to do is unscrew this top, you put your water in, then you have to keep it upside down, put this on, and you just throw it back on and tip it back over. And it works really well. It's a little on the small side, and it's a little annoying having to like flip and turn it over and everything. So let me show you what we have them on now. So here we have a much bigger water. As I said, that last one I think holds about a gallon. This one's about 3 gallons. There's a lot more area for the chicks to drink from. This is really important as they get bigger or if you have more chickens. Another thing that I really like about this water is instead of having to take it apart, turn it upside down and all that, it has this little cap that you take off, and there's a little threaded port right here where the water comes out. It's the same kind of gravity vacuum system, but now you can thread this little cap on there, and then you can just unscrew this top piece here, fill it up, whether you have a bucket or hose. It's really convenient if you already just have a hose. You don't, like I said, all you really have to move is this silly little cap. Fill it back up, thread the cap back on, take this cap off the bottom here, and you just put it right back on this little placeholder. So this is a much better setup for scaling up a little bit as your chickens get older. I really like this style water. I'll probably end up having to go a little bit bigger as the chickens get bigger, and we're gonna be moving the ducks in here soon too, so I will need lots of water. Beyond that, of course, chickens need more water, and they also need more feed. So, there they are eating right there. This is the old feeder we had, of course. Simple enough, you pour it in there and feed comes out the bottom. Now, again, this is nice for just a few chickens or when they're in the brooder, largely because it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Your brooders, you can only generally have a brooder that's so big, so one with a relatively small footprint is really nice. But as you scale up and get bigger chickens and they go through feed faster, you're going to want something bigger. So that's why we have this tote out here. And as you can tell, the chickens can stick their heads in there and get all the feed they need. These are neat little caps that you can buy. Most of them come with a hole saw you can just drill through the side of whatever container you want to use, whatever size fits well for you and your flock. And then you just thread it on there, and they're super easy. The little cap helps prevent your feed from getting wet. And most of them will either come with or will be available, these little caps. These are nice if you're particularly concerned about like rodents and stuff trying to steal your feed. You can kind of plug them up at night and you can take them off in the mornings. It's at least nice to have. And some other concerns is, like I said, you can see, you've got to drill, a hole through the side of whatever container you're going to use. It's best if it's a flat surface, like you can see here. It does work on a 5-gallon bucket, which I have. But as you can see on the side of this, it's kind of like this corrugated type style. And so this would be pretty hard to put those on. Because ideally, I think I'd really like 4 of those little feeding ports on here. But right now I just have 2. I just got 1 on each end. But that works pretty well as long as I keep it pretty full and the chickens aren't fighting too much for the feed all at once. Another thing to keep in mind is if you're going to move your chickens around a lot, you want to make sure that your container full of feed is something that you can manage, something that you can carry around or move if you had to from spot to spot. Ideally, the feed's starting to get low by about the time you move them, so it's a little easier to move. And you also really want to make sure whatever container you're using is waterproof, so again, all that feed doesn't get wet and ruined. And let's see, I think that about covers it for this little update. I'll keep updating you as we progress and we get more ducklings later this week. And after they're in the brooder for a few weeks, we'll be moving them out here with the chickens. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you learned something and enjoyed it. If you'd like to support this channel and us making more content like this, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you'd like to follow us on X or Instagram where we're most active, you can find our handles in the video description below. We'll also have a link to our website and many of the products and hardware that we use here on the farm that work so well for us. See you next time.